Right now, you probably haven't made any huge, significant progress like you were waiting for. And you're probably on push-pull legs. Hi bro, my name is Orpheus, and I've built up to this pretty sick physique at 16 years old and dipping 55 kilos. Pretty cool video here. This is for 3 reps. And I've also helped tons of people do the same thing. So, you're probably at the point right now where you're changing lifts and programs because you don't really know what works, right? And you're not really getting strong at any because the exercise changes, you change the program, and your progress is all gone, right? So the steps we need to take to work around this is to actually start progressing on weighted lifts instead and to program around those lifts. And finally, stick to it for 30 days. So these are the 3 steps you need to take to finally start making progress on push-pull legs. Or even not on push-pull legs, bro. So first step is progressing on weighted calisthenics. I'm sure you're you're doing like the standard exercises now. But bro, pull-ups, dips, and potentially even squats are insanely good. Like, I'm sure you've heard this thing where lat pull-downs don't transfer to pull-ups, but pull-ups do transfer to lat pull-downs. This is the same thing, like, pull-ups literally transfer to everything, okay? You can branch out from pull-ups to literally, front lever, and there will still be some benefit. Yes, it's not a ton, but bro, pull-ups can benefit so many things. And dips are also really good at this, especially if you train them in, a higher rep range, because in a higher rep range, you build more muscle, and muscle is the #1 factor for strength in all exercises. And so dips can also be an amazing tool for this as well for just building general stability. Squats are actually not so necessary because many people train legs just for aesthetics, which you can get by just doing something like leg press, hack squat, whatever. But I still recommend to people doing hack squats just because they're tough, and at least in the beginning of their journey to do regular barbell squats because everything will seem easy afterwards. Okay? So this is the first thing, progressing on weighted. And how do you actually do this? Okay? You do this by prioritizing them. Okay? So you need to put them as the priority. How do you actually do this? You need to put it prior to other things. Okay? That's simply what a priority is. So for your, let's say, if you're doing push-pull legs, on push, put dips first. On pull, put pull-ups first. And on your leg day, do squats first. Easiest way to do that, by far. And another way you can prioritize them is by doing a little bit extra sets and taking sets from other movements. Okay? So let's say if you're doing, if you're starting off your leg day and let's say your leg day is 15 sets total, instead of doing 15 sets of 10 exercises, or let's say I don't know, whatever amount of exercises, you bring a little bit more of that just to squats. So you focus a little bit more on squats. You can just do this by, let's say, instead of doing 2 sets of squats, you do 3 to 4. Okay? You just do 3 to 4 instead. Pretty easy way to go about it. And step 2, like we said, is to program around those lifts. Okay? This is once you get a little bit more advanced and want to take your weighted to the next level, because weighted calisthenics can get you, the physique for absolutely free, like I've shown here, It's insane how free the physique is once you do weighted calisthenics. So you need to program around these lifts, and because our main focus is just getting stronger at them, this is how we're going to do it. To program around those lifts, the easiest way to do this is by changing the whole program, but it's difficult to do, okay? It's not easy as in it's easy to do it itself, but it's the one thing that'll help you out the most if you were to do it. But the second best way to do it is literally by just adding more exercises to that exercise. And so let's say you are focusing on and so making your program based around those lifts is the easiest way. So let's say for dips, okay, very easy example here. Actually, all of these are pretty easy, but for dips, let's say you start off with your top set, right? For let's say you have an upper day, okay, an upper day, or no, never mind. You have a push day, okay. You have a push day. You put dips first, okay. You put dips first, And then you do even more dips, not by adding more sets to these normal dips, but by doing a weakness of the dip. So let's say you're bad at the bottom part of the dip, you add some like bottom paused dips, okay? So you do some of those. Afterwards, you wanna like benefit your dips even more, and you know specifically that your triceps are like weak because you're weak at the top part, okay? So you do like a very focused like, let's say you do like close grip bench, okay? Because that's really focused on triceps, okay? And to finish it off, you do some tricep extensions, okay? Because once again, you're focused on the top part of the dip. And so you can see that this is still a push day on paper, but we're focusing so much more on dips, and so the progress will be way more measurable, okay? Instead of like hopping programs, hopping exercises, you're gonna look at your dip strength, and if it's going up, you're gonna see that, okay, I have to be getting bigger and stronger. That's just simply how it works, okay? So you can also do the same thing for pull-ups by literally just finding out like what is your weakness for pull-ups. So let's say you do your top set for pull-ups, okay? And that's just gonna be regular pull-ups. After that, you're weak at the top part of the pull-up, so you add in some like pull-ups where you do, it's called like half lock pull-ups. So you go all the way up, halfway down, lock it out, okay? So you spend some more time in your weakness, okay? And this is still part of the pull day, for example. To finish it off, you do some, let's say, some rows, okay? Because you know that specifically you want to work on your mid-back, your mid-back, right? Let's say for hypertrophy still. But that'll still benefit your pull-ups because locking out at the top part of the pull-up requires a lot of mid-back strength, okay? And so you do some rows for that. And to finish it off, you're like, actually I want to work on some biceps. So you do some biceps, even though let's say it's not the most optimal. But let's say you don't want to do some biceps because you know it's not that optimal, for example. You go ahead and do some reverse curls, okay, which are more optimal because, you know, you're on pull-ups, you're like this, you're pronated, you're not supinated, okay? So that's how you simply base your program around the lifts themselves, okay? This is really important, really easy to measure your progress once you do this. Step 3 is literally just stick to it for 90 days, bro. This is like a thing I've seen from Hamza, which is like a 90-day like work period or like a 90-day year. Because most people, you know, they work in the 365 year, okay? They say, this year I want to achieve X, this year I want to achieve Y, you know, whatever. And what happens is there's no like urgency in that. Because you know that, let's say, when you have to do some like homework, okay? You have to do some homework, whatever. You don't do that homework until the last day, right? You have like so many days to do it. You only do it on the last 2 days or maybe the last day. But if you have more urgency, right, to do it, if you have that 90-day year, you're gonna go ahead and start that work earlier, okay? And so how you go about this is essentially you make your 90-day year, and one of these things, like one of your goals, will be your calisthenics goals. So let's say one of your goals will be a 40 kg dip 1 rep max, okay? That's one of your goals, and a 25 kilo pull-up, okay? Let's say those are your 2 goals. And your thing below that is just gonna be stick to the program for 90 days, okay? So your program, you just have to exactly stick to what you made in those, like in the start of that. So you essentially start these 90 days, you think a little bit, okay? You don't think too much, man. You don't do way too much research, okay? You preferably just listen to like one source of info, which could potentially be me, let's say. And you follow whatever that person is saying to the best of your ability. You make the program to start with, and you simply stick to it, man. That's all it is. You stick to it for 90 days, and you're gonna see better progress than you've seen ever before, because in the past, you know, you've been like changing workout splits, changing everything, and so you kind of like reset your progress every time you make that new routine, you know? You reach somewhere, you go back down. You reach somewhere, you go back down once again. Let's say you did some huge change, you know? And once you finally get up to here, you could have just done that like faster by staying on the same program. You see what I mean? And so this is how you go about it. These are the steps. Once again, to recap, you progress on your weighted lifts. Okay, this is step 1. Step 2 is you program around those lifts. So you build up your program to actually work on the lift specifically, and you stick to it for simply 90 days, man. That's it. I know you've gotten a lot of this value from this video, so I want to give you even more value and help you out even more. Since you've watched to the end, here is Weight Aesthetics. This is my free community with 113 like-minded people like us working towards their calisthenics goals. There are literally posts every day of people like, oh, I achieved this. Oh, what do you guys think of this? Do you think this is a good idea? And it's absolutely sick to see this. So go ahead, click join group. This is on School. You just make an account. You can see here's some other people I've helped as well. Thank you for watching, bro. See you, bro. Keep overloading.